Hello there, fellow adventurers. This is Sorvesteon coming to you from Riders of Icarus, and I'm over here at Conqueror's Gate in the Exarahn Badlands because in this taming guide, I'm going to show you how you can tame Nightmare. So Nightmare is one of two heroic mounts that you can tame in the Exarahn Badlands. And let me open up the bestiary. The other being Profane Apocalypse. Now, there is a kind of progression that or way that you should go about taming these two heroics. You should tame Nightmare first, and then tame the Profane Apocalypse second. The reason for that comes down to the mark you need to tame these two heroics. The mark that you need to tame Nightmare is actually a crafting piece or a material for the mark that you need to tame the Profane Apocalypse. So that's why I'm making a guide about Nightmare first. You definitely want to go tame Nightmare first and then go after the Profane Apocalypse second. And I'll explain a little bit more about why you want to do that later in the video. But for now, let's go and let's see what the bestiary says about actually taming Nightmare. So Nightmare could be tamed, but only by someone with common hunter's gear lined with Exarahn ore to protect them from its magic. So what they mean by this is basically the level 30 PvP gear that you can craft or acquire through other means. And I am wearing a full set right now. It's called the Modest Hunter set, and you can see I have all 5 pieces, and the set effect for having all 5 pieces is that you get a special buff. Right here, the Modest Hunter set buff, Nightmare can be tamed. So in this instance, instead of having a single item be the mark that you need to tame this heroic familiar, you need to have an entire armor set, and that armor set acts as the mark. Interesting, eh? So the big question then is, how do you acquire a Modest Hunter's PvP set? So just before I answer that question, I thought I would show you what the Modest Hunter set looks like. It's very similar to the Frost Command set, except that it has a little tassel-like piece of cloth here on the side. And it's green instead of blue. Other than that, the design is almost identical to the Frost Commander set. So how can you get a Modest Hunter set? Well, there are 2 ways that you can get a Modest Hunter set. The first way is to talk to this guy here, Torio. He has a coin shop, and if you give him enough coins, he will give you a level 30 Exarahn Enigma chest. Now, here it says a Guardian Enigma chest because I'm a Guardian. If you are a Priest, then it would be a Priest Enigma chest. So it's specific to your class, and what this chest has a chance to give you is one random piece of level 30 Modest Hunter's gear. So it can give you anything like a sword, or a crossbow, or a piece of armor. It's completely random. Now, because it's completely random, that means that you can't control, what you get. And so this means that this is actually the less desirable way to go about getting a full armor set. You could end up getting 10 swords and never even seeing a piece of armor. So if you want to go and do this, though, you'll need 180 Exarahn coins, these things right here. Now, you can get those just by killing mobs. They have a random chance of dropping maybe like 1 or 2 off of the different mobs in the Exarahn Badlands. But the primary way you're going to get them is by doing repeatables in the Exarahn Badlands. For example, this Relic Collection 1-day repeatable would give you a reward of 20 Exarahn coins. Now, that's actually fairly good, and that's why it's only a 1-day repeatable. The other repeatables, the ones that you can do infinitely, well, they provide a coin reward that's a lot less than the 1-day repeatables, because you can do them infinitely. But again, this is a big kind of pain in the butt because, look at the requirements to complete this quest. You need to go out and kill 15 Exarahn transformation werewolves. and that is not really that particularly easy. The mobs in the Exarahn Badlands have a lot of health and a lot of defense, so unless you're in a group of people, then it's going to take you a long time just to get one mob down. Not to mention, this is a PvP zone. You have to deal with, the chance that some random person will come along and gank you while you're trying to kill a mob. So, there is that whole PvP dynamic to this. So, if you want to get the coins, it's obviously going to take you a while to accumulate just 180 of them. And considering the random nature of, the pieces that you're going to, or the gear that you're going to get from this guy, that's why it's kind of the less desirable method. The more desirable method is really just to go and craft yourself a modest hunter set. Now you can get the recipes off of this guy here. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Gylver? Or whatever. He has a recipe shop. So he has recipes for the kind of the materials that you'll need to craft the armor pieces, and he has the recipes for the armor pieces themselves. So in order to learn those recipes, you will need stage 3 in your armor crafting. So here I've got the recipe for the Exarahn alloys, and to craft an Exarahn alloy you need 20 Exarahn ore. And that is probably going to be the most difficult thing to get. And here, let me explain why. You can get Exarahn ore by just killing the mobs in the Exarahn Badlands. They have maybe I would say around a 10% chance of dropping maybe one Exarahn ore. There's also gathering nodes located around the Exarahn Badlands map, where you can go and gather an Exarahn ore. However, they're only going to give you one. I've never seen... Okay, you might have a very rare chance of getting 2 off of a single node, but usually you're going to get 1. And again, you're in a PvP zone, so you have to deal with the fact that other people might come along and gank you while you are trying to gather Exarahn ore. So it's not like you can just go and gather this stuff in peace. And the mobs, again, like I said before, unless you're in a group, they're relatively difficult to kill. And if you are in a group, well, then you have competition for the Exarahn ores that do drop off of the mobs. So acquiring enough Exarahn ore to actually craft a full set is a task in and of itself. So, like here, if we look at the recipes, I need 8 for the helm, 9 for the pauldrons, 10 for the heavy armor, 6 for the gloves, and 7 for the boots. So that's a total of 40 Exarahn alloys that I need. And considering that each Exarahn alloy requires 20 Exarahn ore, what's 40 times 20? 800. You need 800 Exarahn ore in order to craft a full set. So you can begin to see where, this is like grind fest. Like, to go through and accumulate that amount of Exarahn ore is going to take you a lot of grinding in the Exarahn Badlands. Now, if you don't want to go through and do all that grinding and PvPing, because, in this zone, no matter what you're trying to do, PvP will always be a component of that. You can always go to the auction house and try and buy the Exarahn ore from there. Let me just pop open my portable auction broker. And, alright. So, Exarahn ore. Let's go to the lowest price. So Exarahn ore is going for around 60 silver. So 50 Exarahn ore would cost you around 30 gold. So when I bought my Exarahn ore, I did have to buy some. It was just too much for me to gather. I was paying 1 gold per Exarahn ore, so this is a much better price than what I was paying. So here, let's do some simple math. If we have a total, if we're paying 60 silver per Exarium ore, and we need 800 Exarium ore in order to craft a full set, then we would need around 480 gold in order to purchase all the Exarium ore from scratch, like assuming you don't have any saved up, to craft a full set. And that is a pretty penny. Now that's not the only thing you need in order to craft a full set of Modest Hunter's gear. You also need a few other things. Here, let me just go back to my recipe here. You need some simple molds. Those are really easy. You can get them off of any armor crafting merchant. You need some chaos fragments. So here, let's go and type in chaos. Let's see what we get. So the chaos fragments are not too bad. They also have a random chance of dropping off of the mobs in the Exarahn Badlands. And they're an uncommon drop, but you know, the price isn't too bad, so you can just buy these off the auction house, no problem. Like here, like you could buy just 14 off the auction house for 10 gold, and that would be enough to for all the pieces. So see, you only need 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So you only really need 10 chaos fragments. The other thing you're going to need are chaos essences. You only require 1 per piece, so you only need 5. Now you can get those from a repeatable quest as well as off the auction house. Or wait a minute, why did I just close the auction house? So chaos. Okay, there we go. So the chaos essences are, here, let's just go to heroic. So the chaos essences aren't too bad in price either. So like here, you know, I could get 6 for 6 gold, and that would be all the chaos essences I need to craft a full set of armor. So the real price, or where you're going to spend a lot of your gold, is getting the ore in order to craft the Exarium alloys. Now you can get the chaos essences from this repeatable, and oh yeah, here, let's close that. So yeah, once you've gathered all of those materials, then you can craft yourself a full set of Modest Hunter gear. Now, the reason why I told you you should tame Nightmare first and then tame the Profane Apocalypse second is because, like Nightmare, the Profane Apocalypse requires basically another armor set. It's the level 35 PvP armor set. It's called the Austere Hunter gear. Or let me just double check that. I've got a piece in my storage right now.
I'll store your stuff for you.
Here, yeah, the Austere Hunter set. The Austere Hunter set actually requires the Modest Hunter set as a material for crafting it. So unless you go and craft 2 Modest Hunter sets, you're going to end up losing your Modest Hunter set to craft an Austere Hunter set. So that's the reason why I told you that you should tame Nightmare first. Now, just before I move on to showing you where and how you can find a Nightmare, I was over at the Conqueror's Gate, but I've just teleported over to the Blood Moon Camp because I wanted to show you that there is another mission board over here where you can get repeatable quests if, you know, questing is something that you want to do. And here you can get the Earnest Rest daily repeatable, which again will give you a Chaos Fragment, 30 Exarahn coins, and it will also give you this material box. And I've heard that this material box also has a rare chance of giving you some Exarahn ore as well. So, you know, what you want to do is if you're going to be questing, you want to grab the daily quest from Conqueror's Gate and the daily quest from Blood Moon Camp, and do both of them. The daily requests are by far the most important. There are a few other one-time quests that you can do once you reach the Exarahn Badlands, and they will give you a good amount of coins and stuff as well. But like I said, you can only do them once, and they certainly won't give you enough to go, buy a full set of Modest Hunter gear with coins alone. So, even if you're just looking to craft your armor, these daily repeatables are a really good way of getting some of these materials instead of having to go spend your money. But then again, because this stuff has become so cheap on the auction house now, it's almost as if you don't really need to do this. But, then again, this is on the Balas server. If this is not the case on your server, or for whatever reason you want to go farm this stuff yourself, then these are the two quests that you would want to do. The two daily repeatables at Blood Moon and Conqueror's Gate. Now, finding Nightmare can be a little bit challenging. As you can see here, I've put together a map based on information from the Japanese version of the game. There are 10 spawn locations that Nightmare could potentially spawn at. Now, in the Exarahn Badlands, there is only one channel, or actually I should say there are no channels. So Nightmare will spawn at one of these 10 locations. The locations that I've marked in red are the locations where I personally have seen Nightmare spawn. The locations in yellow are the locations that I got from the Japanese version of the game, but I have not personally seen him spawn at these locations. So the yellow ones are kind of the unconfirmed locations. Although, I trust the information I got from the Japanese version of the game, so I think that you can trust all 10 of these spawn locations as well. Now, he is on a 4-hour to 4.5-hour respawn timer. So once he's tamed or killed, it will take 4 hours minimum to 4.5 hours for him to respawn again at one of these 10 locations. Now, there is a significant competition for Nightmare, and this is a PvP zone. So as soon as he spawns, usually there are people waiting there waiting to tame him. And kind of what the larger alliances do is they will send people out to all of these locations when they're anticipating Nightmare will spawn, and they will, they'll have lookouts at all these locations, providing information to their members who are actually looking to tame Nightmare. And not only are they serving as lookouts, but they're also serving as guards. So if Nightmare does spawn at, like one location, and the member of that alliance can, yell out to his buddies, hey, get over here, and that one member can try and hold off or foil anyone else who tries to tame Nightmare. And, that's just the reality of, trying to tame a heroic in a PvP zone. And that's why, I kind of think that this is a group effort. If you're going to tame Nightmare, doing it by yourself is incredibly difficult because you do have to fly between all 10 of these spawn locations when you're anticipating that Nightmare will spawn, and you have to check all of them. And if there's anyone else there, well, then you might have to fight them, for the opportunity to tame Nightmare. So, this makes taming Nightmare relatively difficult, and it's all air battles. Nightmare spawns and flies at an altitude of around 250 meters. So, not only will you be trying to tame him in the air, but you're going to have to potentially be fighting an air battle at this same time. So, if you have any friends that can come along and help you, then that will definitely make your experience much better, and it will definitely improve your odds of actually successfully taming Nightmare. Now, when I found a nightmare, I was alone. I didn't have anyone else to help me. And as you can see, there was already a number of other people who had also found a nightmare. And so it just turned into a brawl. You know, all these players are all trying to tame Nightmare, and they're all fighting each other at the same time. And so I thought to myself, ooh, see, look, there I got a kill. 'Cause I had joined in on the fray because I thought to myself, yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to tame Nightmare in this kind of a fight. Like, this... I figured this would be impossible. See, like, someone there, he just got on Nightmare, and now everyone's shooting him. He really didn't live long. And that's basically what happened, or what I thought would happen to everyone. Anyone who tried to get on to Nightmare got shot and killed long before they could ever finish taming Nightmare. And, you know, so I kind of just gave up trying to tame Nightmare, and I just went and thought, well, I'll go have some fun, you know, PvPing and see if I can get some more kills. So actually I got one kill. That was really awesome and really exciting because as a Guardian, you don't normally get too many kills in group PvP. You know, like assassins and wizards will just out DPS you most of the time. So, you know, anyways, I thought, yeah, I'll just go and have some fun, and I will just try and knock anyone off who tries to tame Nightmare. See, look, that guy there, he didn't last very long either. As soon as, well, pretty much as soon as he got on, he just got, like, annihilated. And, like, I don't know, it's not funny, but it's yeah, it's just like a massive game of attrition at this point. Like, no one was going to tame Nightmare. No one. Not with this many people there. I mean, it was just like, it's impossible under these conditions. You basically need to be like, not really a member of the dominant alliance, but you definitely need to have a group of people there to support you. Because, like, when you run into situations like this, which is fairly common, you know, there are lots of other people looking to tame Nightmare, you need to have the power and the numbers to annihilate everyone else who's there, basically, and to create kind of a safe zone around you while you then try and get on to Nightmare and then tame him. Just like with many other heroics, you know, you do have to go through the taming minigame, and so, you know, it takes time. And, well, one of the nice things, though, that I should probably mention is that unlike a lot of the other heroics, you don't have to lower Nightmare's health. You can see people are shooting him. I'm shooting him. I didn't mean to actually shoot Nightmare. I was actually aiming for the players, and sometimes just aiming for Nightmare meant that, like, if I put off an explosive shot, then it would hit the player that was on Nightmare. Anyways, you don't have to bring down Nightmare's health. As soon as you see Nightmare and you're in a taming position, you can just jump on. So that's one of the nice things, you know. You don't have to sit around DPSing Nightmare down and then, you know, try and tame Nightmare once you get Nightmare down to like 20%. In fact, even though that's not a requirement, I recommend that you don't do that to improve your taming chances, because, you know, you're in a PvP zone and there are people out to kill you. Like, look at the amount of times I'm getting knocked off my Laiku. You know, like, people are out to get you. They want Nightmare and they will kill you because you're in a PvP zone and they can. So there is no, you know, like, oh, okay, you can have him this time and then you can, you know, we'll grab him next time. You know, no one plays nice like that. You just kind of have to go for it. So, yeah, so I basically at this point thought, like, well, whatever, you know. Like, no one here is going to have a chance because there was no dominant person. See, look, this person's trying to tame him, and I just targeted him, and I just fired, and I believe that was my second kill, yeah. So at that point, like I was just looking around, seeing, hey, who's here? Who can I grab? And then I see Nightmare by himself, and I look around. Oh, there's no one there. There was no one else there. So I figured, well, you know what? I'll give it a try. And there I go. So as you can see, I started the mini game, and I was very, very, very lucky. At this point, no one. I don't know what happened to them, but no one was there. And I think it's right around now. I think, yeah. See, I started to get shot, and the only reason I succeeded was because I got really lucky and caught a break and was able to get through most of the mini game before I started getting shot again. Alrighty, so these are Nightmare's stats. He gets 6 skills. He gets the Mythic Resilience skill, so he's immune to all environmental effects. He gets the Legendary Aura, which can go up to level 7, and it's a PvP attack rate increase by 17%. He gets the Equine Endurance, which increases his maximum EP by 16%. He gets a buff called Dark Sprint, which increases his movement speed by 20% for 20 seconds with a cooldown of 30 seconds. And he gets 2 attacks, 4-foot Slam and Might of the Horns. Now, if you were to go and seal up Nightmare, which is something you could definitely do, Nightmare would give you all stats between 15 to 19 and a PvP attack rate increase of 1%. And that is how you tame Nightmare from the Exarahn Badlands. This has been Sorvesteon in Riders of Icarus. Don't forget to click like and subscribe to my channel for more taming guides. Until next time, fellow adventurers, take care and have fun.